Coleman. LLC. The paperwork on says that the company is a one manager company, and when we open those DBAs, we have you and Melissa as each as a manager, so that's more than one manager. And so what my banker support people said is that if you write a letter on the Innovated LLC saying that there is now more than one manager, and the second manager is on these two on this account, then that is acceptable.
What other options are there besides manager? Because you have, in our mind, there's like one overall the manager, but you know, we open a fictitious business name account, we would want more than one signer and people who control the money in the account.
Okay, we can change her from manager to signer. We can do that, yeah.
Okay, and she would just be able.
You both have to come in and re-sign the signature card.
Okay, we'll figure it out. I think overall the main thing is that she would be able to do anything and everything with the bank account, but she would not be like the manager of the entire LLC and be able to control all the other accounts.
Okay, then you're gonna have to. What you're gonna have to do is come and put her on those. The two that we open, change it from manager to signer.
Cool. Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
So, do you know when you might be able to come in?
Hopefully sometime this week. Yeah, over the next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, then that'll be fine. I'm off Monday, but I'm here the rest of the week.
Perfect. Okay, thanks so much.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
All right, it's always good to get that. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you guys hear me or what?
Yeah, I hear you. Yes, the whole conversation.
Great, cool. All right, so we have the recording going. Let's make sure we have our video indexing going. Obviously, we're a small group. There's only the 3 of us today, which is actually perfectly fine. There's no problem with that. I'm not sure if we were particularly early. Do you remember?
No, we're on time, I think.
I know, but someone wrote that me and Asif were early, so I would just say that we probably were just on time as well. Cool. So let's do our official check-ins. Steve.
All right.
Oh wait, actually, we're supposed to, before we do check-ins, facilitation, all that other stuff. So I mean, I can help facilitate. Does anyone want to help
with 3 of us, that's kind of, it's going to be very simple.
I'll be the note keeper.
You can help note take. Okay, so me and Asif will help with
I
notes.
will help him.
What about?
I do not know how to be the timekeeper of the video indexer, believe it or not.
Okay.
I can do that.
How to do it.
So
But I
will
do it.
time.
Responsibility masters.
Okay, Steve. All right, cool. And we'll help each other because obviously we're a small group. So that should be fine. Let's not worry about afterwards. And
All right.
cool. So check-ins. All right. Steve, checking in.
Okay, actually, I'm very much excited about the session as I've heard a lot about this session, and yeah, I'm almost very much tired because lots of workload. But yeah, I'm at 6 today.
And so you mean you have lots of workload with Turk Balloon?
Turk Balloon, yeah, and a couple of my personal things as well.
Cool. And you said you are a 6. Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, I am doing pretty well today. I should know by Tuesday or Wednesday, hopefully exactly when Evelyn will be here. Because we should have everything all straightened out and I should be able to make plane reservations for her, which is fantastic. I'm celebrating one of the holidays. It's the Harvest Festival. It's a happy holiday. So, the religious aspects. I'm a little upset that if the Americans tend to go to the midnight and 3 a.m. meetings here when it's 1 a.m. at their time, I still get showed up. I understand it. It's hard to stay up, but it was nice. And otherwise, I'm a 6. I'm a 7. I'm a 7. I'm doing pretty good. Got a lot of work to redo on the taxes, but that'll get done. I'm a 7.
Great. So I would say, and if you're going to help with notes, this is the time. I would say that I'm doing pretty well. There's definitely an unbelievable amount of stuff going on. For example, Kanisha needs to figure out her payment, and that was all a big problem. There's all these things going on with EXA and payments to Finland that need to get dealt with, and other meetings and issues. But overall, things are good, and we got paid, which is good. And other than that, I am just excited about the Mars session. I mean, it only happens once a year, so it's cool. Very cool. Check.
Hello, guys.
Ooh, who's that?
Thomas.
At what number you are?
Oh, me. Probably like a 5.5. I'm also like really tired and like got up too early and just like I don't know. I just have been working way too much. Like I swear I've worked like 20 or more hours, maybe even 30 hours in the last like 3 days. It's like ridiculous. So yeah, Thomas.
Yes.
You want to check in? How are you doing?
I'm good, and you? I'm so excited for this session, and I just woke up right now. Well, I just woke up right now to attend this session. So for me, I'm so excited. For me, it's a 6.5.
Great. Cool. All right then. So we have a pretty small group today, but that'll should be fine, and we can get through more stuff. So now we're going to go through our desired outcomes. I definitely, some of my desired outcomes is kind of to, review and learn about the Mars session, the membership, which is the membership session, and, the overall structure of the network. From there, I would love to actually, to finalize creation of a new, in essence, organization that supports the interests of the team. And also, I'd like to continue training from the global sessions like the New Moon. All right, Kanisha's doing cool. She will be fine. So the New Moon, the Venus session, etc., etc. So there's a whole bunch of training and things like that we want to continue, including getting our group all set up. So those are the main things for me.
Can you send me the doc, please?
I'll send it to you right away now.
Steve, desired outcomes?
Thomas, this is the right.
Thank you.
Sorry. I have one. I would like to know and put down on paper the specific rules on how buddy teams are supposed to split up. You know why I'm saying this, Jay? That when there are 4 people, it has to be split to until not they're going to continue working 3 and leave 1 alone and then complain about it. For what the specific rules are for how buddy teams have to split up.
Cool. Thomas, any desired outcomes?
Yeah, for me, I would like to know about mass session. This is my first mass session. Let's learn more about it and how it's all about. Also, I would like to know about a position that I take on virtual office. It's all about.
I can help you with that at some point, but okay.
Cool.
Steve?
Yes, yeah, actually, I just wanted to, assist you more and more to get, because I'm free now. From this week, I'll be very much free. I don't know whether what is it is desired outcome or it will come into topics, but yeah, I really want to know that how to get assist you, because I really want to, get more and more involved in the community now.
Yeah, I have one of those too. I'd like to finally learn from you how I can assist you with the, what did you call it? Assistant treasurer, treasurer's aide, whatever you want to call it. Hey.
Well, the
we always
treasurer
talk
role.
about it, but something always comes up to keep us from actually getting and doing it. So I would like to try to get into some of what you need from me and what I can do for you. And if we need to set up, a 1 hour to a 2 hour session for us just to go over it, let's do it. Whatever you need me to do.
Okay.
Everybody got quiet.
Yeah, Jay, can we have little more discussion on management, money and security organizing? Little bit, just to,
I'm going to be going through organizing all the old moon sessions and all the old, quarter moon, half moon, and seasonal sections, the sections like the planetary sections, to see who volunteered to do what responsibilities and put it on a spreadsheet and start messaging them and asking them what they're going to do about it. So that's going to help with some of the responsibility stuff.
Did you want that to be a topic, or are you just letting us know? It's an update.
Excuse me?
Was that just an update, or did you have another topic, or?
I guess it's a topic and an update all in one. I can do,
So you do want it to be a topic?
Yeah, I want it to be a topic.
So what is it again? What's the topic?
Responsibility organizing.
Cool. Responsibility organizing process.
Right. That'll work.
And there's also tactical management for responsibilities. Cool.
Well, that's the same. I guess doing it is the tactical manager or whatever. But the subject of it is the subject, at least right now, is the getting it set up and, talking about it. Not that there's much to talk about it, but okay.
Cool. Awesome.
It is tactical management, yes.
Okay, so this is what I would propose in relationship to our topics. I would start with the methodology proposal because we always do that unless we forget. Then we have the purpose of the Mars session. I'd like to spend a few minutes, this should go really quick, 2-3 minutes on like the overall structure of the network to understand where the membership fits into the bigger structure. And then from there, really go deep into the membership structure. So this could be 10 to 15 minutes. And we're going to be, appointing a board. So define the organization and appoint a board, right? So that's the purpose of the Mars session, and specifically the what do you call it? The membership meeting. Does that make sense, everyone? Does that make sense? Does everyone get that?
Yes, yeah, we are on it.
Okay, so hopefully in the first half hour, we can cover all of the membership stuff in the Mars meeting. Then what we do is we go to the board structures. Okay, so the board structures would be, okay, we're going to go down a level. The membership meeting, the Mars session's over, and we're going to be reviewing the board structures, which would be specifically relating to the Earth session, but we're not doing that right now, but we can still talk about it. And then the executive structure, since the Mars session supersedes the board structures, it's more important, right? So we can deal with all the board stuff now. And then the executive structures after that, which would be like the treasurer and other executive positions that we covered at the Venus session. So this is Venus, this is Earth. And the management support would be Mercury, and when we talked about the virtual office and other management positions, and then we just go into actual responsibilities, okay? And then there's the senior manager SIFs, the FCA and value tracking, and the team budgets that I'd love to do more training on if we can get time for that. And I think it will fit into other aspects of our discussions. So that's my proposal for the whole thing. That's our proposal for the topics, our agenda.
Yeah, I have no questions and no doubts on the proposal.
Does this sound good as far as does it sound good as far as like all of the different gadgets? Are you still here, Steve, or did we lose you?
I didn't realize I was on mute. I'm talking and I didn't realize I was on mute. No, that's fine with me. I mean, but normally we talk about, that's why I asked you if you wanted to meet earlier, because we usually go over the topics. But this is fine with me. This works. Covers everything that I think we need to cover.
Cool. And the only part that's missing here would be like our 1 year goals. But technically the Mars session, this is the aphelion, okay? So the aphelion of the Mars session means that this is the moment in time where Mars is furthest from the sun. It's the root point time cycle. And we'll cover more of that in the purpose of the Mars session, but typically we would be reviewing the goals set out in the previous Mars session at this Mars session, if that makes sense. But we could talk about 1 year goals, and we could review the notes from the previous Mars session, or review notes from previous Mars session.
Let's see where we're at when we get to it, and yeah, it works.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I think we're ready to jump in. Any other last questions about the topics? Any objections to the desired outcomes in the topics, or should we go for it?
No objections or questions from my side, Jay.
No objections. Let's go for it.
Okay, I can't hear Thomas very well. He's very quiet.
Okay, let me check my mic.
That's better. Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, for me, it's a go for that.
I'm trying to avoid my echoing headset, so if you can't hear me, I'll get it. But I'm attempting to avoid the echoing headset.
All right, cool.
Now you can hear me, Jay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you now, Jay. Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay, so we have agreement on desired outcomes and topics. Cool. All right, so now we're going to go into what's called the methodology proposal. This should go really quick since we've all already agreed to it previously. And there is a responsibility here of, oh boy, of there's a responsibility here of updating the methodology proposal and information. So eventually we need to do that. So we'll keep reminding ourselves every session. Are there any objections to the methodology proposal, which is that all Unity policies, protocols, guidelines, systems, and processes will be followed?
No, that's fine.
No objections, and so we have agreement. All right. Any other questions about the methodology proposal or anything else related to our policies, protocols, guidelines, systems, and processes?
No.
No. All right.
No, for me, no.
Okay, that one's done then. Next. So now we're going to go to the purpose of the Mars session. All right. Oops, we got it twice there. So as you guys know, the Mars session happens once every year. And this is the moment, the moment that Mars is furthest from the sun. This is called the aphelion. And so generally speaking, perihelions, which is the moment that's closest to the sun, is what we call the primary or most important session. So the Mars perihelion happens once every 2 years, whereas the aphelion and the perihelion happen once a year. And so the perihelion is really the focal point. That's where we want to like set up the goals of the whole year, but then we have an additional year we can review and everything. Overall, in our global structure, the Mars session relates to our membership. And the membership is basically, the membership controls basically the destiny of the organization, right? So the membership is the primary existence of the organization and network. So this is our main, overall membership meeting of the whole global network. If someone wants to put that in their own words, they can. I can try to explain it again, but it's very important that people understand the concept of membership and what membership is and how it works. Should I just say it again? I can just say it again.
I mean, I understand it, so I'm not saying anything, I mean, I've been doing this for a while, so I'm not saying anything.
So for me, you can explain that, Jay, because it's my first time.
Cool.
Exactly.
So just to back up a second here, in terms of our organizing, right? Like it's like I go over these things multiple times. All the different sessions and all of these links need to be updated, and the documentation need to be updated. So I click on the Mars session. I should see all the notes to all of the Mars sessions here, but we don't see them. So that needs to be fixed. So that's we need to add that as a task.
It is a task, and I will take that task on.
Cool. So
it's not a big deal. It's a quickie, so I'll take that one on. I'll do it maybe while we're talking.
That's what I'm talking about. When I say these things and ask people things to get done, we need to just do them, right? Why wait? So this is the aphelion. For example, we need to link today's notes here. Instead of me even asking someone, I'm just going to do it because that's what I do. I get work done, right?
So I thought somebody did it. I would have done it already.
So we need to add the past notes. Okay, so that's the next step here is adding all the past notes for the Mars sessions because we want to access them.
All right, okay. That'll get done, no problem.
Okay, and let's make sure we note that here. So this is a responsibility is updating the Mars session doc. And there's also a task in linking the Mars session notes. The easiest way to do this is from the videos of the Planetary YouTube channel. Okay, and you can get to the YouTube channel through the recording right at the top. So our recording is now going directly to the Planetary YouTube channel, and we are live. All right, so going back to membership. So it's very important to understand. when you have an organization, the membership represents. So the membership is the highest level of either members, owners, shareholders, stakeholders, guardians. I mean, they're basically the last line of control of the vast majority of organizations. Everything else stems from the membership. I don't know how to make it more clear than that, but like the board, and the membership, that's the main thing the membership does. The membership appoints the board.
Or elects the board, if not appoints.
Yeah, appoints or elects the board. I usually use
more of an election than an appointment, I think.
Not exactly, but yes, exactly, and not exactly at the same time. So.
Okay. I'm not going to touch that.
It's basically, it's and both. It's appoints and or elects. Okay, it can be either one.
Okay, that'll work. All right.
So let's have someone else try to put it into their main, into their own words.
So the membership, as per my point of view, is to to be the owner of companies or organizations' shares, and depends upon the profit and loss as well of the shares. Am I up to some extent?
Well, we don't really have shares in.
Sure, we do.
In our, yeah, I guess we do.
Yeah, we've got tokens and value and equity and shares, but membership is where everyone's equal. So the highest level is membership because that's where everybody's considered equal, and all of the subsets of that in terms of ownership and shares and shareholders and stakeholders is all subsidiary to the concept of membership. So as a member, you have a right to vote, and then how much your vote is worth, etc., is related to the type of organization. All right, so do I have this correct? I have Asif, Steve, Thomas, and myself. So that looks good for the Mars session.
So Jay, if if someone is having the shares, so it means that he is equal to the partner as well.
He's equal to a partner, yes. So if you have a partner in a partnership, that would be the same thing as membership, yes. So partner, guardian, stakeholders, shareholders, owners, members, these are all the concept of membership. So it's the highest level of a business or an organization.
And do sponsors fall the same categories?
All right, say again.
Do sponsors fall the same categories? Those who like to sponsor like an organization, do they fall the same category as membership?
It just depends
sponsors.
On what kind
he's
of,
asking about sponsors.
It depends on what kind of organization you're creating. If you create a business, right? If you create a corporation, it could have shareholders. A for-profit corporation would have shareholders. Whereas, like, if you created a trust, you might have guardians, right, that appoint the trustees, the board of trustees. If you have, you want to create like an LLC, or you want to create, just a partnership, you would have partners. If you want to create a nonprofit, you would have members. And we, as a network, as a global network, are a nonprofit network as our foundation with for-profit governance and other branches. But our primary model of governance as a network is that everybody's considered fully equal, period. And so we're all equal members of our nonprofit network. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So even though we do have, in the network, we have organizations that are for-profit organizations and government organizations and other types of organizations that involve equity, shares, token, all that kind of stuff. The highest level in the root of all the decision-making that controls the whole network is through nonprofit membership.
Okay.
which means that we're all equal in this space, right? My vote is exactly the same value as Thomas's vote, which is exactly the same value as Steve's vote, which is the same value as Asif's vote.
Now I understand that. Yeah.
Cool. So, I mean, I think we're pretty much on the same page, but are there any other questions about the concept of the membership and the purpose of the Mars session?
Not for me.
Pretty much great. Cool.
Okay, well, let me cover just a couple more things here then. In the biggest problem of this particular Mars session is that we, because we're so busy with our client and catching up with all the work that needs to get done, have not met the minimum bar of outreach. And this is a public, the Mars session is a public space, and we are accountable to the public, and the membership can come, and we invite, you know, many hundreds of people to this session.
Right. I didn't send out a Facebook. I didn't send out a thing on Facebook this time like we have with Jupiter and things like that.
Yes. So what that means
didn't have
is
time
that,
to get to it.
exactly. So what that means is that the next Mars session, which would happen in about a year, the context of it is that instead of us talking about, for example, the boards and the executives and all the responsibilities and everything that we're doing, we would actually go through as many as 10 organizations, or at least 2, 3, 5 organizations, and we'd be checking on their boards and reviewing and appointing people and making sure that the whole membership of all the organizations in the network is correct and up to date. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool. So today we're not going to do that. And primarily the reason we're not doing that is because we don't meet the basic threshold of what we would call like a quorum, because we haven't invited all of the members to this meeting, and so we only have staff here, right? It's just the staff here, and it's the four of us. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to basically create a staff subset of the membership, you know, organization that can take on roles and evolve into the future. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I think we understand the purpose of the Mars session. Let's move on. So the next topic is the overall structure of the network. And this should go pretty quick. So you guys understand membership now, but let's make sure you understand membership in the relationship of the broader network, okay?
Okay.
So this is the global network, right? Global network structure. And just to make sure we differentiate this from the structure of, for example, the Americas network is a slightly different structure. There's a different structure for FQN. And this is specifically the community network structure, or the FQN community network structure. But FQN itself has more of a galactic structure. So the first level is the Legion, right? So Legion, and then the second level is membership. Okay, so the membership is the highest level of internal activity. So our membership would come together on the Mars session, and we can note here this is Mars. And well, here you can copy the stuff below here, but let's make sure we have one clean record of the structure.
Okay.
Here, this level, yeah. So, but it's not just the highest level; it's the highest level of active involvement, right? Highest level of active involvement. Okay. So the Legion. The Legion is like we've decided, and the people that I've been working with for a very long time have decided that we want to be more than just a normal organization based on a membership, an active membership, that we actually want to be publicly accountable and be integrated into a broader vision, which we call the Legion. The Legion is the series. It happens every 2 years. Every 2 years, this is the primary global elections. Also, this would go beyond to events like the Saturn session, Jupiter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Jupiter. Okay. So are you guys, does that sort of make sense in terms of the relationship between the membership and the Legion? So the Legion are people who are not particularly actively involved. The membership may not be particularly actively involved either, but they do have to show up and vote on things, whereas the Legion literally just is involved in the election. That's all they do is they help prioritize and elect. They just click on buttons and maybe show up to a meeting once every 2 years, but that's it.
We can take an example of sleeping partners of legions or something.
Huh?
No. Like legions are, sleeping partners, sleeping kind of partners, or
I don't know. I'm not following you.
Silent partners. You mean silent partner?
Silent
I
partner.
think you mean silent partner.
Well, but they wouldn't be. They wouldn't be a partner. They wouldn't really even have. They wouldn't really even have any type of like direct vote in policies or decision making or even appointing the board. At most, they would basically choose our direction, help us move the right direction, and help with prioritizing, because everyone can help with that. And then they would also potentially elect the co-chairs and the senior managers of the sextants. But that's all they would do, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, so this would be very, very limited involvement. Very limited involvement. We would basically consider this as external. It would almost be external, whereas membership is you're technically an internal member of the organization, and you're actively involved in appointing the board, right? So this would be active involvement in appointing the boards and oversight and accountability. So the membership is holding the entire system accountable, whereas the Legion is not really actively involved in holding the whole network accountable. Does that make sense? Like the Legion is just voting and kind of having their say, but they're not actively holding the network accountable.
Right, now got it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So are we on the same page there? Does that sound good? Yeah, and we don't need to worry about the Legion. I'm just telling you guys about the Legion because I thought it would be important to go through the whole structure because we're almost at the top. For the series session, which will be next year, we'll cover the Legion in detail. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome. All right, so let's go to the next level, which is the board, right? Or the super board. Actually, I call it the supra board. All right, and this is the Venus session. Nope, it's the Earth session. Happens twice a year. The board, so the membership appoints the board. And so membership appoints the board, and then the board would oversee the legal decision-making of the network. So this would include, the annual budget, appointing executives, et cetera, right? And really any other legal decision. And the board meets twice per year, not very often. And again, we could change these whenever we wanted. Like we could easily change the structure. For example, we could say the super board should meet on the Venus session, right? So the Venus session is the executive team. This is the Venus session. So let's say we wanted the super board to meet more often, we could switch the super board to the Venus session or vice versa, right? So when you go into our global structure, right, and these are more tasks that I've already assigned for people. All of these need docs. The executive team needs a doc. The super council needs a doc. The membership needs a doc. The Legion needs a doc. Does that make sense? The management team already has a doc.
Well, that's
what?
Those are tasks, and Lucy should be. Those are all tasks, and Lucy should be taking up on them in the near future, I'm sure. Because that's what he's supposed to check up on tasks, like I'm checking up on responsibilities.
Lucy's supposed to be checking on positions.
All right, then I will add tasks to the responsibilities, and I'll check up on them also.
Yeah, so this would
That's what he
be
was supposed to be
this
doing.
would be the responsibility to make sure that the global structure docs are created and up to date, right?
I will search out who said they will do it, and I will remind them that they said they'll do it, and I'll make a spreadsheet for that one also. Okay, does that sound good?
What is the spreadsheet?
Of course, I'll make a spreadsheet for who took on those tasks and ask them to fill it out what they've done on it so far, what they're up to, who's helping
Okay,
them.
but we already have a spreadsheet.
That way.
It's called the responsibilities master verification
That
spreadsheet.
might not have tasks. It has responsibilities. It might not have tasks.
I know, but this is a responsibility. It's not a task.
Okay, then I'm doing that anyway. That's fine. I want to be checking that anyway. So
Yeah.
That's part of what I want to be doing. That's fine.
Cool. So how are we? So basically, the whole point I'm trying to make here is simply that in the global structure, there's the Ceres session, the Mars session, the Venus session, the Earth session, the Mercury session, the full moon, new moon sessions, right? And those are irrespective of the core team, the management team, the executive team, the super council, the membership, and the legion. We can change when those meetings happen. And so anytime those meetings happen, we need to be recording them separate from the actual sessions themselves. And anything can happen at the sessions. The sessions themselves, like the Mars session is an open public session that anybody can do anything at the session from anywhere in the world, right? And we will support that, right? So if someone wants to make an agenda item or have whatever they want to do, they can do that. Okay? And then also here we have the all global natural time sessions doc, right? It's great that they made a doc, right? Oh, look, and they actually did it. Okay, so it's cool. So it has the Venus session.
Yeah, no, I saw that. They did it. They did it. Yeah.
So this is good.
I have that. They did it.
So the
Except
problem
the
is
Mars
that
section isn't on there. The last Mars section is not on there. I was looking for it.
yeah. So the main thing here is it needs to be ordered by date. Right, so it should be by date, and then we need to add in the most recent Venus session. We need to add in the most recent Mercury session and other global sessions. Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that.
These are all global natural time sessions.
And all these things like the main Atlantic session and all that stuff needs to come out of here.
Yeah, the main
Which doesn't belong on
Atlantic,
this
anything that's a regional session that's not global would not come here. But I don't see anything. Do you see anything? I don't see anything.
Top one is main Atlantic session and the all global natural time.
Yeah, so we can get rid of that. That
Well,
doesn't go there. The main Atlantic.
Yeah, I'm
session
doing it. I was
goes
just about to do it. And here's the first Atlantic main session right here.
Yeah, you might want to
I'll make
double
that
check
one
to
go
make
away.
sure those are in the main Atlantic dock, to make sure it's in there so they don't disappear. If this is the only
Well,
place
then
that
I
it's-
have them and I can put them there, so it's
Okay.
not a problem. I'll check the mid Atlantic.
Yeah, so this is just for
There you
global sessions, and this is just a list of all the global sessions in order.
June 19th management team. I have no idea what that is, but okay.
Well, it's probably a
I mean,
Mercury
there's
session.
buddy team docs up. Yeah, there's buddy team docs on here. I mean,
That's just right before the Mercury session, so that's like a subset.
yeah. Okay, I got it. I did it. It's
No,
fine.
but I would actually leave
All right.
that because that happened right before the Mercury session.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Like that was part of the Mercury session, so we want to make sure that it's linked correctly into the Mercury session.
Okay. So I'll put it back.
All right. So, anyways, we're just doing a little housekeeping here, making sure things are organized. But I feel like we're on the same page. So you have executive team, you've got the management team, and then you have the core team, and then there's the steering team and the co-chairs. Okay. So that's the structure of the global network. Are there any questions about the structure?
For me, I don't have any question.
Nope, my God. Yeah, I've
Alright.
known it and I still know it.
Not from my side either.
Well, so it's mainly just understanding the understanding how the membership fit in. Cool. So
Can I make one comment, and it's completely on the tangent.
okay.
All these docs.
Yeah.
Because people remember when you make like a doc like today's doc, you look at the top of the doc, it shouldn't have, and yeah, you've gone through this before, I know. It shouldn't have all these docs listed at the top of the doc. You don't need the full moon doc on it. You don't need the global core team doc on here. You know, it should have the Mars doc on here, and it doesn't. I mean, you know, whoever, you know, and on the bottom it has the value tracking for some other session all the way at the bottom. Can we start using the template and please stop using old docs that have other stuff on them? You know, come on.
What is
There's the full moon doc.
what is the problem about the session value tracking? The session value tracking is part of the template. We want the session value tracking.
No, with Albina and Lucy and everybody's value tracking for another session?
Well, we just have it as like a template so that it's easy to fill in. It's actually not a very good template.
All right.
So we might need to improve upon the template because it's supposed to have the participation credits. But yeah, overall, it's good to do that.
I'll make sure it will not happen again.
I know. That's why I just mentioned it. You're good like that. I just wanted to,
and I'll try to improve it myself.
You know. And I always get annoyed because they have the global super team, but they never have the Americans. I take it personally. Sorry.
but if someone like the most important ones, obviously here is the global FQN Community Network main doc, and that's there. And then you have the Mars session doc.
Yeah.
And then the least important one would be obviously the membership doc.
Right.
And the global membership.
So that everything's done twice. The global core team doc is twice, and so I don't know who did this, but you know who did the original one that you copied. But okay, we're good.
Yeah. So I mean, just over time we'll get better at it. And again, today is actually Saturday, right? Isn't it Saturday?
Yes, it's Saturday. Well, it's Saturday by us. It's Sunday by them.
No, but we do UTC time.
It's Saturday/Sunday 7th/8th.
No, we only do UTC time. For our global sessions, there's only one date, and it's UTC.
UTC, it's Saturday, the 7th. Yeah.
For us, it's a Sunday.
Yeah. Well, that's perfectly fine, but we want to keep things as simple as possible. We're going to be moving to the Selene calendar, where there's only one date in the world at all times, so we won't have to worry about that anymore. All right, so let's go on to our membership discussion. So are we ready to move on?
Yep.
Cool. So
that's it.
The goal here is to really talk about us as an organization. So ideally, and this would be for next year, we'll talk about the super membership and all of the organizations involved. But because we didn't do basic public outreach and we don't have quorum, instead we're going to define our own organization as part of the super membership. What I would define it as is basically, this is all of the active team members involved in staffing and supporting the global network, and those are the people who are currently involved. And that the proposal would be to create a new organizational entity. A new, let's just say a social organization entity, right? So it could have more than one, a social entity. Let's just call it a social entity. Could have more than one organization, but it doesn't matter. And the purpose is to support the active staff and people working on. So that's basically the proposal. The membership structure, we'll keep it simple for now, but we basically would have the four of us, so that the in-person structure would be the four of us. Then you would have like online voting, which is basically the overall team. And then there'd also
which I'll send out any proposals afterwards, correct?
yeah, and then there'd also be the sextants, right? The 6 sextants would be our locations. Okay. So that would be the overall membership structure. That's basically the proposal, right? Basic majority quorum, majority vote, and of course strive towards consensus, and of course use the full methodology of the FQN. Okay.
Okay.
So this would all pretty much be a proposal. With this organization, it could have a. So what this would mean is that it could have a budget. It can have executives. It will appoint a board, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Are there any questions about this organization we're creating?
Okay, yeah, this organization will consist of us 4 that we are in the mass session, right?
No, this organization is to support the entire active staff. So anybody who's on the core team and who is actively a staff within our organization would automatically get membership. Basically, it's everybody who's currently involved, right? So all the people who are currently involved in the network, which we can define exactly who those people are, right? So we're the active membership. We're the voting power because we're here in person. But people can also vote online. That's part of our protocols. Okay.
Okay.
So the membership structure would be everyone who is actively working as staff with the FQN. And I wouldn't even say staff. I would just say actively working with the FQN Community Network, right? We don't care if you're staff or how much you're paid or not paid or whatever. It's just like if you're actively working, you're automatically a member of this organization that we are creating, which is exciting. And it doesn't supersede or anything of any other organization. It's just like we need our own organization and we need to start working on our own stuff so that we're functional. So does anyone have any questions about the proposal and understand what it means or why or anything like that?
So this will be an organization in the in a network community, right?
Yeah, this would be an organization within the FQN Community Network, and it would be an internal organization that would serve the needs of the network. Another interesting thing to note here is that, like everybody, you all have a buddy team, right? You all have a buddy team. You all have a, what do you call it? Like a sextant team, or sometimes we call them super teams, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then we have a global core team. Okay. So what's important to note is that the buddy teams, the sextant teams, right? Especially the buddy teams are not part of the global structure, and they don't own anything, right? So the ownership of the actual organization itself is the membership, and everything else is to serve the membership, and the core team is there to serve the membership as well. Does that make sense? So in terms of creating our own membership level, what it's doing is it's actually empowering us not just as workers, but as owners and members of the organization that we're creating.
So in short, this is intra-organizational structure within the organization. Okay, yes. Got it.
Yes, it's a sub-organizational structure to create a space where we can all be working together that is separate from the bigger picture, which is just more than really could handle ourselves, right? So we just, it'll be easier for people to wrap their, teeth around just a simpler model that's just for us, so that we are empowered to move things forward in a bigger picture sense. But there's still network equity and equity for the bigger picture and all the other things that have been set up and being created for over 2 decades. And everyone in the buddy teams, the individuals still have ownership in all of that, but they also will get ownership and membership in this structure as well.
Mm.
Does it require any level? Okay, maybe a level 4 so that you can join the organization. All levels.
Anybody can join the organization and work.
Yeah, everybody who's actively working would be a member of this particular organization. So if you're not actively working and you're not part of like our crew, you wouldn't be a member of this particular organization, but you'd still be a member of the FQN Community Network. The entire public, we're publicly accountable to the entire network. This particular organization would not be directly accountable to the network. Does that make sense?
That's internal. That's basically internal.
Yes, this would be an internal organization that
It's
would
an
serve
internal
our
organization.
Yeah, this organization would serve our needs, not the needs of the public.
Okay, cool. So until you have the different budget from the others, so meaning you'll have our own, it will have its own budget.
Yes.
And the other community will have its own budget. Right?
And it'll have its own board. So this is the membership. So we have our membership, which we're defining as everyone who's actively working in the FQN Community Network. Right? We can easily define that. I mean, it's the 4 of us. You know, it's Abdul, it's Lucy, you know, it's Kanisha, it's the people we work with every week, right? That's the definition of the membership. From there, we would appoint a board. The board would make the legal decisions. So legal decisions, including the budget and executives, right? And then we would have executives, and then we would appoint. It would be the same management structures, like, you know, basically the same management and same core team. Okay. So the only things that are really different is the membership, the board, and the executives would be slightly different. It would obviously be much simpler. And then everything else would basically be the same for the management and the core team.
Okay, get it now.
So any other questions about the proposal?
No, yeah, I'm pretty much clear on it now.
Cool.
For me, it's clear too.
All right, so then let's go ahead and do some voting. So I'm going to vote yes.
I'm going to vote yes.
She votes yes.
I vote yes too.
Yes.
Thomas votes yes, and Asif votes yes. So we have agreement and consensus. All right, so what's missing here? There's a couple things missing here. One is obviously the name. We don't technically need to have a name for the organization. It's one of the coolest things about our network is that we can actually create organizations without names or address or anything, right? Because it's a subset of the bigger network. And we actually do have a whole protocol and system of identifying organizations and giving out organizational numbers and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, we're not going to worry about that for now. But we could say it's the worker entity, right? So it'd be the FQN community worker entity or whatever we want to call it, right? But we'll think of a good name over time, okay? So worker entity. So eventually, this organization would have a name, or this entity would have a name, whether it's the worker entity or whatever we want to call it. We'll figure it out.
It would be.
So more importantly than the name is the functionality, and then we need to appoint a board. So the next, actually, there's one other key step that I don't want to miss before we appoint a board, is to understand one of the components of our methodology and legal structures. So one aspect of FQN Community Network legal and methodology structures is what we I don't have a good name for it, but you know, it's basically like independent review, accountability, and oversight. And we hire Umbus and Plasmo to oversee this. So basically, what it means is that there will be a board, right? And then we also appoint a review team, a review and accountability team.
Committee.
I like to use the word team. So the way I use team is that it's open to anyone, and then a committee is a closed membership, only appointed individuals. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
But it could be somewhere in between there, and I'm open to either way. We could figure it out. But the key is that this is the most important part, is that it's all about reducing conflict of interest, right? So if you are on the board, then you should, quote, not be on the review and accountability team, all right? So that's one aspect. Another aspect is that we just allow, since it's a team, we allow anyone to be on it. So we allow anyone to help support it, but with constraints. Lastly, the only other thing I want to say is that in our election process, so appointment and election process, this is the default, okay? And so I'm going to propose our default model of appointing the board, appointing plasma, and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll see if you guys like it, okay? So basically we have our rankings. We rank everyone, and then we choose the minimum and or maximum number of seats on the board. Okay. And then we have a dual structure. One has no overlap between levels of accountability, and the other can have full overlap, right? So that's pretty much the easiest thing. So the idea here is that on one side, and this would be the overlap side, it doesn't matter if you are on multiple levels of the organization. And on the other side, there would be no overlap. And so here is like, you basically wear one hat. If you are a board member or you're an executive, if you are a executive, you can't be a board member. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so.
So the idea is that you do both, right? We have both because we want accountability, and so that's the idea of that. So then the process is just simply use the rankings, choose how many people we want on the board, and then go down the list of the rankings and then appoint the board members based on that if they're willing to be on it. So that's the simplest model for what I would propose for our process, and that's kind of like our default process. If we were doing the overall structure, we would automatically follow that, but basically it's a proposal. So the proposal is to use the default FQN community network board appointment process.
Okay.
So, and I just explained it to you. If you have any questions about it, we can make alterations, so we can change the process, or we can just give it a try and change it later. Or if someone can propose a totally different option, and then we can do a straw poll and build agreement around it.
Do you have a question on that proposal? When you say that we are using the ranking of FQN, meaning most people that are ranked high on FQN will most likely to have more position in this game, in everything. So can we look for another way other than this, or
Think about it like this. So if you're ranked high, I can choose. That would be basically an election, and so therefore you're appointing that person to the board, right? But in the no overlap model is that as soon as you're appointing the executives, okay, who should be the executive of the organization? If you choose to be the executive, you automatically are removed from the board, and the next person in line would bump up into the board if they chose to be on the board. So in that way, the higher you are ranked, the more ability you have to take a higher position in the organization. For example, to be an executive or a board member. But if you take on that position, it reduces your ability of oversight and accountability because other people have higher positions and power. So for example, everybody who's on the board would, in essence, it would be a conflict of interest to hold themselves accountable on the accountability and Plasmo committee, and then therefore the membership would have oversight over the board to ensure that there is somebody on the membership who isn't a board member. Does that make sense? So it creates a dynamic of equilibrium.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's making sense to me.
Yeah. But yes, the answer is yes, correct. If you're elected higher and your ranking is higher, you should have more power in the organization. That's the idea of the election process, right? And then we redo the election process. Remember, what's really interesting about the election process that we did for the rankings is that it's brand new. We just finished the rankings, and it starts today, right at this moment, for the new elections for the Mars election. It just finished. That make sense?
That makes sense.
Oh, that's great.
Did all three of you guys, like I voted, did you guys vote?
Yes, I voted.
I sent everybody the email.
Well, there you go. So Steve must have voted.
I sent it to every member of our team.
Nice.
I know I voted before I even sent the email.
There you go. Did you vote, Thomas? Did you
I
vote?
wanted to make sure that responses were coming through, so I used myself as the test to make sure it was working.
So Thomas, did you vote?
Yeah, I voted there.
Perfect. Yeah. So the point is that it's like, yes, the ranking.
Yes, he did. I got an email saying he voted. Yes, he did.
Perfect. So the answer is yes, the ranking does constrain who is able to take a position of power, but it also is recent. Everyone just voted. So why not support the decision making of the entire of our entire membership? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
my only problem with it is that there are some people, and there are a few people, it's not one specific, that in my opinion, and it's just an opinion, who get ranked high on a regular basis, who might not be a good fit for a position of power.
Yeah, and that's obviously.
Do we have?
It's obviously an opinion, because obviously everybody can have different.
I said very much so. It's an opinion.
And it's opinion. So every organization should have a removal process. Obviously, by default, because we're taking on the full, what we call the methodology African Community Network. There's automatically a process, a default process to remove people from the board, from the membership, at any level. So we're able to remove people if there's a problem. But sometimes it's kind of like learning riding a bike or learning how to run a business. You just kind of have to jump into it and learn it, So sometimes by empowering people, you are creating leaders as opposed to disempowering people, and then they never become a leader.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah. Another interesting thing to note is that in our organizational structure that we just created, nowhere did we say you have to be able to speak English, or nowhere did we say that you have to be, speaking Globish or any particular language. So technically speaking, this new organization we just created, our worker entity, is open to all workers, regardless of culture, regardless of language, regardless of anything. And it's part of our global organizational structure, which includes all languages and all cultures. So we are not an English network. We function in English as one of our branches, but I think it's an important thing to note now that we didn't exclude anybody who didn't speak English, even though we obviously are prioritizing English. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you technically could have someone voted very high who didn't even speak English, and then we'd have to figure out how to deal with that. But we will deal with it when it comes.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that we don't have anybody who doesn't speak at least some English.
Yeah, and in the overall network, English.
In the overall network, we do, yes.
Yeah, in the overall network, we have English, we have Globish, we're going to have Spanish, we're going to probably have Bengali and other languages across the world. So that those networks will be budgeted, and we will be supporting fully functional branches of the network that don't exist in English. But with this organization, these are for people who are actively involved, and so it's mainly English-based, but it doesn't exclude people who don't speak English. So when we have workers in the future that don't speak English, for now they still are a part of this organization, and we could create a subset of this organization that's only English-speaking. But let's deal with that when we get there. So the proposal still stands. Any other questions, Steve, or issues you want to?
No, I'm good. I'll vote yes. I just wanted to, an answer to the question.
So Steve votes yes.
I vote yes too.
Thomas votes yes. I'll vote yes. Let's see.
Yes.
All right. So Steve votes yes. Okay. So now we have a process for appointing our board and Plasmos. So what we're going to do now is open up the elections.
Can I make a statement for the notes?
Yeah.
That the All Global Natural Time Doc has been updated with all the quarter moon, full moon, and other natural sections, at least for the last 3 months. We're talking.
Nice, nice.
Okay.
And let's just make sure we have.
Instead of saying I'm going to find somebody to do it, I just did it.
That's the
Which is
best
how
way.
things really need to get done.
That's exactly how things.
So you can put it down in the notes. And I'm going to start working on another one. Finding the last Mars section as we talk.
Cool. And just so you guys know, I'm a little finicky about having things organized and all. How would I say? I like things to be in the same format. So yeah. So I like it, the format where you have Thursday, October 5th, 2017, and then boom, full moon session. It's clean.
Well, I put everything I added in with it by date, by what it is.
I know. I'm just saying, like eventually.
I didn't retype the way they put it in. So I just, I use what they put as the date. Some of them have the quarter moon session first and then the date. Some have the day and date first, then the same quarter moon.
I know, but I'm just saying that eventually.
I'll go back into it at some point, maybe, and make it in that format view. But for now, at least all the docs are there.
I know, of course. It looks great. It's great. I'm just saying that eventually, I'm personally going to be encouraging us to make sure it's all clean format all the way across, so that we have standard format and it's really clear and it looks pretty and nice. I like things that look pretty and nice, All right, so let's go back to where we are. So okay, so we passed the proposal. We have a process for appointing our board. So as well, actually, the process actually appoints not just the board; it appoints everything. So the first thing we would do is go ahead and pull open the rankings, and also we're going to want to pull open and link the election results, and just double check the election results with the rankings, make sure everything is correct, and then appoint the board. Actually, there's one other aspect that we can do first. We can decide how many people should be on the board. So the options here would be everybody. If you appointed everybody to the board, that would mean that the membership
the quorum would be way too big to get anything done. We know this from past experience, Jay.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Is that it's possible. You technically could appoint everyone.
Yes.
I would say another good number would be like 10. 9.
Yeah,
8,
that's fine.
7, 6, 5.
Make it an odd number so that you never have a tie vote.
Usually we do majority anyway, so you can't have a tie vote with majority.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so here are some numbers. So we're all going to vote a straw poll how many people we think should be on the board. Eventually, we will finalize the board number, and then based on the number of people on the board, we automatically select that number of people in the rankings, and then it's a done deal. Okay, that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes, Jay.
Cool. So is there any
That's fine.
is there any question about do we want to do this first real quick while we're opening up the election stuff? So we just want everyone, we'll go around the four of us and each of us will say how many people, and you can vote as many as you want. So you could be like, I'm down with 15, 10, 9, and 8, or I'm down with 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. So you can vote as many as you want. It's a straw poll, and whatever gets the most votes will be our proposal. So who wants to start?
1 to 7. 1 to 7 would be okay.
Well, I don't think we're gonna do
one isn't a board. One doesn't make a board, you know. I mean, so one doesn't really work.
One, you technically can have one person on a board. It's technically possible, but you know. So Asif is
It's
1
kind
to
of-
7. Okay, how about you? Steve?
7.
For me, it's 10.
Thomas, so just 10? You think 10 people? Okay, Steve?
10.
Steve also says 10. I'm going to say 7, 8, 9, or 10. That's Jay. So Jay is 7 to 10.
7 to 10.
Okay, so that gives 7 gets 2 votes. So 7 has 2 votes, and 10 has 3 votes. Is that correct? 3 votes. So
Okay, so 10.
no, it's not 10. That's just our straw poll.
Oh, no. Right.
So-
Now we do a proposal that I'll send out in a proposal form. Okay.
No, we're just going to continue to downsize it. So I actually would propose that we redo the straw poll with 7, 8, 9, and 10. You know that we have to choose
Okay.
one of some of those numbers, but let me double check about this because I think 10 might be too many. So 7, 8, 9, and
That's why I
10.
said 8 or 10, but okay.
I'm actually going to take off my 10 vote. I'm going to do 7 to 9. I think 10's actually too many. I'm going to do 7 to 9.
What if
I'll go 8.
So
I'll
this will
go
be
8.
2. This will be 2 and
What-
2. So 8. So let's just redo 7, 8, 9, and 10, and see where we're at there. Yes, Thomas.
what if we say that each quintet to have a representative? That will be a bit right for us.
The way that our model works for FQN, the default model, is that there's
Yeah.
3 components to our voting. One is that you have our membership structure. One is that you have the in-person structure. That's the 4 of us. The 4 of us control 1/3 of all voting, period. Does that make sense?
Okay.
The
Yeah.
next one is the online voting. We're the most important part, right? And we're here now. This is awesome. The next one is the online voting. Everybody who's part of the membership, which we know our organization has about, there's like 15, 20 people involved currently, right?
Yeah.
Everybody who's a member
Right.
would get a vote online if they chose to. There will be a subset of the membership of actual active members, and they'll be the ones with the power. It'll probably end up being about 10, 15 people, okay? The 6
Okay.
sextants just simply means that when we're doing official votes, we technically need 4 of the 6 sextants to be represented in order to be an official final proposal and decision. Does that make sense?
It makes sense now.
But that is applicable with both in person and online. So today we don't actually have full quorum because we have 1, 2, 3 sextants. Wait, no, I think we have 4. I think Asif, you're in the Central Asia in East Pacific. Okay, so we have 4 sextants. We have West Atlantic, East Pacific, Central Asia, Middle East, and then also your Africa. So we have 4. So we have full quorum right now. Perfect. We're perfect. Cool. So
Oh, yeah, we have more. That's right. We're all in different places.
yeah, we're all in 4 different sextants of the world. All right.
Right.
So let's go back to this vote. So we have 7, 8, 9, and 10. Who wants to vote first?
I'm still stick to 7.
Okay, so Asif is 7. I'm okay with 7 as well. I'm also okay with 8 as well, and I'm okay with 9. So I'll do those 3. Steve?
I'm okay with 7 or 8.
I'll go with 8. Let me go with 8.
Okay, you can do more than 1 though, too, Thomas. So Thomas does 8. And what did you say, Steve? You're okay with 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that gives a tie between 7 and 8. So now we have to choose either 7 or 8. And then you can only vote once on 7 or 8.
Oh my God, it's
I
getting
know.
harder and harder.
So what do you guys think here? 7 or 8? Who wants to go first?
I'll go with it.
I'm
I'll
going,
stick with it.
I'm going with 7. Thomas is going with 8. Steve?
I'm going with 7.
I'm also going with 7. I'm stick to 7.
Okay, Steve and a C for 7. So that means our number is 7. So the proposal is at the board. So the board of our worker entity will have 7 people. Okay. Is there so then we all vote on it. So Steve.
What's going on here? It's not letting me open anything.
I'll vote yes as Steve. Thomas.
I vote yes.
Steve votes yes.
I vote yes.
Thomas votes yes.
Yes, from my side.
Steve votes yes. Okay, cool. So that's the official decision. So we have consensus. So for now, we can change this in the future, but for now, the number of board members on the board is 7.
Now, do we send out an election? How do we do the board? Do we send out a form for it?
Well, no, it's already done. We just use our election. So we're just going to pull up the
Where's the
election.
board? Okay, all right, I got you.
No, we're the membership.
All right.
We're more important than the board. We are the membership. Right?
Right.
We are the ones that
Right.
hold the
Yeah.
board accountable, but we're the ones going to appoint the board right now. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do that using the rankings. So I'm going to pull up the rankings right now. We also want to pull up the raw results and just really quickly double check to make sure the rankings are correct. Let's see if someone updated the rankings, Doc. What are the chances? All right, looks pretty good. So here's the personnel rankings, Doc. And we're in the October-November rankings. And then I'm going to click on the elections tab. And do you have the link to the raw vote results, Steve?
I mean, I've compiled it with James, the results, but
And when did you compile it? Oh no,
It was 2 days before.
This is bad. It's gone.
What? I'm sorry, I missed something here.
The October-November active personnel prioritization rankings does not have. That's so weird. It was totally here last time, and it doesn't have anything. This is ridiculous. It's so weird. Okay, well, someone obviously messed up the rankings when they did this. So the September-October rankings are more up to date than the October-November rankings. So somebody duplicated at the wrong time or did something wrong. So there's a problem there. It needs to be fixed. Okay, cool. So now the Mercury rankings are no longer applicable, and now for the first time, it's the Mars rankings, and we'll make those green. So, and I want to note here that this, does not include the Mars rankings. Needs to be updated from September, October rankings. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead, and these would also be considered the current rankings. So we're going to sort by highest number. Voila. All right, so there you go. So this is going to equal 1. And this is going to come down all the way down. Okay. So do we all agree that this is up to date or not? Is there any way that we can confirm that this is up to date? Like I see if you said that you did this, but when did you update it?
October Mars session. Wait, let me check. It was with James and Oh my God.
Okay, so anyways, I'm just going to continue as if these were the correct rankings, but obviously we know maybe they're not, and blah, 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 blah. So well, hopefully we can confirm them. But basically, the bottom line is that we would need to, what we would want to have agreement that the rankings are correct. And right now, do we have agreement on that? I don't know. So that's a proposal, okay? Proposal. So that's kind of, it's like certification of the results.
Actually, I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember that it was done 2 days before, but as I can see the results were same because I told James the results of every individual, and these were the same as far as I remember.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm okay with them. Obviously, they look, they're updated, generally good, but does anyone here want to spend more time certifying and confirming that these results?
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm happy not to be near the top anymore, personally. I don't want everyone to like me.
Well, I mean, you're not too far. You're only 2 off. So let me explain the process.
I know.
So let me explain the process. The first thing is that these 7 people would be requested if they want to be on the board. Every single one of them would have to accept their position on the board. If any of them doesn't accept it and says no, then it automatically bumps to the next person. Okay, that makes sense?
Yes.
Secondly, so that's the first step. The second step, so one, confirmation that, and this is actually a responsibility. So somebody needs to confirm confirmation from the 7 appointed/elected board members that they want to take on the position. Okay, but 2. Then we need to know who wants to be on the Plasmo committee /team. I would just call it the Plasmo accountability team. All right, and then anyone who's on the Plasmo, primary Plasmo committee team cannot be a board member, right? So if any of these people wants to be on Plasmo, they would have to give up their seat on the board. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Number 3.
Makes sense.
Anyone appointed as an executive by the board automatically is bumped as well. And then lastly, people who don't show up for the board meeting are also not active and go on probation and also could technically be bumped. Right? So you actually have to show up at the board meeting. Yeah, you actually have to show up. So there's a lot of ways of how the board could easily get bumped into the next 2 people. I mean, 2 people is not a lot. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm not, particularly worried about it.
Cool. So then the next thing would be the Plasmo. Oh, wait. So do we have agreement on these 7 people?
Yeah, they're on the top of the list, so we're in agreement with them.
Okay, so we have a consensus. That's good. Consensus, no objections. And knowing that it can change and shift. And that's one of the reasons why I like the ranking system. And instead of having a stuck board that can't change, it's a much more flexible board. So as people are available or not available, you can actually just rank people up into the board without having to have a huge election of the membership, right? All right, so it's much more flexible.
Right.
So then the next question. Oh, and who wants to take on this responsibility of confirming all of the people? This is an important responsibility that someone needs to send a message to all of these 7 people and confirm that they want to be on the board. I can confirm myself. Asif, Do you want to be on the board?
Yes, Jay.
And Asif. So me and Asif can confirm. So we can bold Jay and Asif. From there, I think there's a high probability I would be appointed as an executive. So therefore, and I would accept that position if I was appointed. And so therefore, in the higher level board, I would be excluded from board decisions. It would bump the next person up. Does that make sense? But that's not going to be decided right now. That'll be for future meetings when we have quorum of the board, right? All right. So another interesting thing to think about the board that we didn't talk about is the fact that if we have 7 people on the board, do we want 6 of those people to be from different quintants? So we could say it's the winner from each sextant who is a board member, and then 1 at-large winner. We could do that. That's it. Let me know what that sounds. Other option is that the board is the winner of each sextant plus 1 at-large. So, anyways, I'm fine with it all just being open to the full election, but that could mean you could have 7 people all from 1 sextant.
But if we'll go with this,
I think we have problems with that as it is. I don't know if we want to have 7 people from 1 section.
So do you like this proposal, Steve, that the board is the winner of each sextant, and that's 6 plus 1 at-large individual who would be a
I think that would make it. I think that would make it fairer that way every section of the world has a say.
The other option is obviously to have a bouncil, right? So a bouncil is where you have a board, which is the top 7, period, right? And then you have a council, which is the 6 sextants represented. So I think I think it's getting
too. I think then we're going back down to 11, 12 people. You might as well have 12 people on the board. I think the best bet is just go with the top person from each section if they want it. But they have to be told that they're required to make these meetings whatever time they are. Because there's no time of the day that's really good for everyone in the world. So meetings will have to be scheduled like every meeting at a different time, so it's convenient to every different area or whatever. But it means that these meetings are once in a blue moon, once a month, once every 2 months, whatever. Or less
meetings are twice a year.
In the morning at your time, you have to stay up that day and make the meeting.
Yeah, I mean the meetings are twice a year. I mean it's not very often, and they're
right.
you can call it
to make the meetings.
You can call it an emergency meeting or whatever if you wanted to. So you can meet whenever, but I would personally go with the bouncil because that's the structure we actually currently have is the bouncil structure. And again,
I know we do.
And it's not technically it doesn't technically have to be 7 plus 6. It would be 7 plus the number of people needed to have balance with the council, right? So if you had 7 people all from 1 sextant, then you would add additional 5 people, so the maximum people would be 12, right? So it's somewhere between 7 to 12 people, right? And so the maximum would be 12, and the minimum would be 7 if they all come from separate sextants. Anyway, so we don't need to worry about that too much, but I think that's the easiest way to do it, and then we don't even have to worry about it. Or we could just do a council. The other option is just the council. Does that make sense? And that would be the winner. The winner of each sextant would be a council as opposed to a board. It's really that simple. So options, either doing a council, a bouncil, or a board. So I'm okay just moving on and not worrying too much about it, but do you guys want to formalize this and have it really clear exactly whether we have a council, a bouncil, or a board?
Okay, let's move on.
So I would say by default, it would basically just be a bouncil if we're worried about it. And then But if we want to, is there any objections to that, or?
No, I've worked with the Bansal before.
Okay. So no objections. So we have 7 people on the board, plus we have the 6 council seats if they are not represented on the board. And then, so let's just see what we got here. So Jay is East Pacific. Nelly is West Atlantic. Albina is Eurafrica. Lucy is Eurafrica. Asif is Middle East. Jorge is West Atlantic, and Abdul is Middle East. So what we're missing is what are we missing?
What are we missing?
And we do have the second.
Eurasia.
So Asif.
Eurasia.
So Asif is in the 60-degree east sextant.
Okay.
Abdul is also in the 60-degree east sextant. Zilu's in the 60 degrees east sextant. Jorge's in the 60 degrees west sextant. Steve, Lilia, Mel, Shagimi. So Shagimi would be the next person, and they would be in the 120-degree east sextant, right?
Which is Philippines.
Although we should double check that, because is the Philippines in the 120 east section? Should we double check it just to make sure, or what? We haven't.
We can double check it. It's not hard to figure out.
All right, let's go to Wikipedia. So Wikipedia. So it's a sextant. It means that it's got, so we do 360 degrees divided by 6. It's 60 degrees, so it's 30 on either side. So we do 120 minus 30. So it starts at 90 degrees. So we're going to
Why don't you just ask Google what the latitude and longitude of Philippines are?
Well, yeah, so it needs to be between 90 and 150. So if I go to the Philippines,
Yeah, Jay, can you check?
All right, so the Philippines is 120. All right, it's right in the middle. Perfect. All right, so yeah, it's definitely right in the middle of the 120-degree east sextant. Okay, so Shagimi.
Jay, can you check quickly
Yeah.
Turkey as well, because I think Turkey is coming under Eastern Europe.
I know, but Eastern Europe is still East Eurafrica is in the Middle East sextant, in the 60-degree east sextant. So I can show. Let's check it out. So this would be Turkey. So Turkey is. It says Istanbul is 41 degrees. So it's right over. It's 30 degrees is the end of the sextant. So it's over 10 degrees into
Istanbul,
into the 60-degree sextant. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Got it.
And even part of Egypt and East Africa and Eastern Europe is all within the Middle East sextant, the 60-degree sextant east. Okay, so I think that's obviously Shagimi. So we added Shagimi. Missing is missing in part to be part of the Bansal. Shagimi. So then who's next after Shagimi? Is there anyone else missing? Steve, Razu, Heather, Jocelyn, Aline, Gail, Julie, Rose, Benji. No, I don't think there's anyone else. Oh, card. You just need a card. One sec. Here, just give me a second here, guys. I don't think we have anybody from the other sextant, the 180-degree sextant. I don't think we have anybody.
Where is that?
I think it's the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So it would be like,
Do we have anybody from the Aleutian Islands?
Yeah.
Anybody from Midway? You know.
Okay, guys, I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, it's a stage of time for 2 minutes. I'll be back. Okay?
Yes. We're taking a long time on this, and we need to move on.
Okay, well, I think we're done. Does anyone want to take on the Plasmo accountability, and then we're done?
I mean, I can send emails to everyone on the list and ask them if they, you know.
Well, I would recommend having at least one person here, like Thomas. Are you interested? Or Steve?
Yeah, I'm interested.
All right, so let's put Thomas on it. So Thomas would be technically even a physician. So Thomas, you can talk with me about Plasmo. Also, you can talk with Lucy. She's helping as well. But basically, you would help represent and hold the board accountable and bring the information to the membership about what's going on, because sometimes the board doesn't do that very well. Okay. All right. So I think we're done. I think we're ready to move on. Let me just double check the little mini agenda. And this was the purpose of the Mars session. So, you know, this is important.
I'm not bitching. I'm just saying we need to go a long time. Let's move on.
Yeah, so the only other thing here was the 1-year goal and reviewing the Mars session notes from last time. Do we want to do that or not?
I can't even find the last Mars session doc.
Well, that would just be, again, on the YouTube channel. So if I just go to the YouTube channel and pull up the last Mars session, it should tell us. And I don't even know if there was a Mars session. We might have missed it, you know?
I looked on the YouTube and I couldn't find it on YouTube either. I might have missed it. I didn't spend a lot of time looking, but I looked on.
Well, you would just look at our channel first of all. So let me just go to the channel. So my
Okay,
channel,
but
this is the primary planetary sessions channel. Although it's not working, my channel. Why isn't it going there? Home. Maybe my internet's just not working. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
So can I look at videos? Let's see, videos. It'll make this easy, 1 bitty bit. I know there's got to be a way to look at all the videos I have, isn't there?
Now you know that I was going to when I said I tried to find it and I couldn't. This is all where I went. But I'm subscribed to the channel, so.
Well, I just don't understand why it's not doing anything. Like it's not. Let me just go to YouTube. Okay, so now it's going somewhere. All right. Then I'm gonna go to my channel. There we go. Okay. So we have Mars session, which is live now, which is exciting. We got the Venus session, the seasonal session, the Mercury session, the Earth session. Then we have a seasonal session, Mercury session, Venus session, Mercury session, Venus session. Venus session, Mercury session, Venus session, Jupiter session, seasonal session. Huh.
I don't see one, so we don't have one.
Well, I know there was a Mars session, but yeah, let's just assume we didn't have a Mars session because I don't see it either. But I know there was a Mars session once upon a time.
Unless it wasn't recorded.
Or it got recorded on some other channel or something. Or it got, changed or hidden or who knows. Anyways, let's not worry about it. I think we're good. The Jupiter session's here. Is there any way play all uploads home? Because we have 16 videos.
3, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, here we go.
10.
So there was a Mars session November 20th, 2015, but not in 2016. So I think we missed the last Mars session. I think that's correct. We missed.
So the last Mars session was probably you and me. Yeah.
Exactly. But there was a Mars
Sorry, I
session
gotta laugh.
in November 20th, 2015. There was a Mars session.
Right, that might have been you and me.
It's possible. Tis
Yeah, we go
possibly.
back that far.
So let's go ahead and just add this really quickly,
All
see
right.
if there's notes, and then since I'm here.
Yeah,
right
what do you
now-
understand?
So the Mars session
Oh, that
happens.
actually has paperwork.
The Mars session happens every 343 days. So we have the Facebook event, the Google Calendar, all the links to our donations. We were.
I
more
remember
organized
when
back
we
then.
did the Facebook event for this. I remember when we did this one. I remember when we did Jupiter.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about going onto Facebook and trying to find it and like actually doing a post today, but I forgot, so it didn't happen. Anyways, not worry about that. So cool. So here's the Mars session. I don't see the link to the notes here, so I'm sure they exist somewhere. It looks like they might have been on a pad, but I can at least link the YouTube video. All right, cool.
Yeah,
So I
link to
think-
YouTube and
yeah, so I think we're done with that. Then obviously the Mars session didn't happen last year, but 2 years ago it did. Cool.
link it to our doc, and I'll link it to the
I'm gonna link it to the Mars
the
session doc.
yeah, and I'll link it to the to the old sections of the doc with all the stuff on it for all the different planetary sessions and stuff.
Cool. All right, let's move on. So I feel like we covered the board enough. If anyone has any questions about what happened with the board and everything, we can talk about that since that's the next on the agenda, but I'm okay just moving on. I feel like we're pretty good, especially since we don't have control over the board. So I have to leave that up to the board.
Can you go on, Jay?
So what's the next thing? So wait, like there was no. So let's see, what is next after the board? Oh,
The next thing would be
oh, here we go. Topics. Okay, so the next topic. So there's the board structure. So I think we can just skip that. The general idea of the board structures of the Earth session would be the board structures, and we'll deal with that in January. So we could talk about the executive structures, and we specifically wanted to go into the treasurer position. Is that correct?
yeah. Well, I wanted to go over further what you asked, but you agreed that I would help you with something. We've never gotten to it, so
So I mean, for me, the main
you know.
question is this: the agreement. I mean, I remember talking about it, but I don't remember there ever being an agreement or anything. But let's go over the positions and understand them, and then think about how we want to move forward and make a plan. Okay.
Okay.
So one interesting thing that's cool is that with this new organization, we can actually appoint a new treasurer, however we want to deal with that, which is interesting. So it can exist independently from the old organizations. So there's the board can appoint a treasurer of the board, right? The board can also appoint a CFO, which is the chief financial officer, and this would be an executive position. This would be a board position. Other board positions include the secretary, and sometimes you have a chair, a chairperson of the board. Sometimes you even have a president of the board. Usually the presidents are executive positions. From there, you can also have the executives can appoint, financial managers. So this could be, for example, appointing a company, right? So ACF is our company that oversees finances and taxes for our clients. I don't know if this is the right name. Can't remember the name. We have some ACG maybe. Okay, so why is that bold? Don't be bold, please. So from there we have there's the project. So there's the project of the treasurer. So you technically could have a coordinator that helps coordinate and supports the treasurer project. From there, there's obviously responsibility of the treasurer support responsibility, so helping the treasurers with all aspects of their positions. And then from there, you have obviously money organizing, money security, and all the other finances, taxes, other things, budgeting, everything. So, are there any questions? So there's four types of positions related to finance, to the treasurer position. There's the actual treasurer of the board itself. There's the financial officer, the CFO. Then there's also the financial management, which can be a company, and so that can actually be an external outsource, right? So this can be outsourced. And then there's the actual co-coordinator position for the project, treasurer project. So, and then there's also any responsibility.
I have a question that concerns this. Are we actually considering opening up a bank account for the? I mean, does the board have any expenses? I mean, is there actually any financial dealings that the board has to do in our overall organization?
You mean the network?
What would be the financial responsibility of the board of directors besides approving, say, the budget of other organizations?
Well, let's simplify and make sure that we're clear here. So there's the overall network, like FQN community network, and our internal budget, right? And right. various organizations control it, right? So then there's our new worker entity that really currently has no budget, right?
Right. My question is, what does that new worker entity need a budget for? Is what I'm basically asking.
I mean, we could officialize that the money that's going to the global network is going into our new worker entity.
We could.
Yeah.
Would that be of value to the organization?
Well, it would clarify a lot of the things of like where the money is and where the money is going and how it's being overseen.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's an answer. Okay, then there is a need for a treasurer. Okay.
Good. Great. Got it.
Yeah, but it doesn't get rid of the existing structures and legal structures, which is that primarily RICO is the business that's taking in the money on behalf of the client, right? So, and then from RICO, it's going into our global structures, right? So, so another thing that I'm thinking about doing is like I feel perfectly confident of taking care of monthly and even twice per month payroll, right? But weekly payroll, I was thinking about turning over to another treasurer, right? So that could be something that we could do, is have the weekly payroll be run by somebody else, so they don't have control over as much money. But that if we do ever, actively engage in weekly payroll, which right now isn't happening primarily because no one's prioritizing it. Nobody is capable of being effective and efficient with their work, and to enable the ability to pay everybody in the organization every week. It just we're not that organized right now. We're able to do it twice per month pretty easily.
Right, because one of the reasons is that we have so many other things we have to do that, even though it shouldn't get moved down the list, people doing weekly gets moved down the list until somebody said something about it.
Exactly.
Do I mention it or you mention it? When somebody says we're going to work on this, no, you're not. You're going to work on weekly payroll. Blah, blah, the schedule. I don't care what the schedule says. You're gonna work on weekly payroll. You know, it shouldn't have to go that way. It should be on somebody's weekly schedule that the payroll gets updated for the weekly payroll. It should be on somebody's Tuesday or Wednesday schedule, so it's ready for payroll by Friday.
Great. So
You know, it should be on.
yeah, I think that's great.
And I have an idea about that. I have an idea about who that should be. I know they're good at it.
Okay. Do you want to? So I mean,
Nelly and Jorge.
And what do you want Nelly and Jorge to do?
To take on, since they've done it, and I know Nelly knows how to do it, to take on either Tuesday or Wednesday doing the America's Buddy team. If they need 2 hours for it, 2 hours for it. Then by every Wednesday after the America session, the weekly payroll for the previous week is ready to go out.
Okay. I mean, that's a little bit late. It seems like it could happen earlier than Wednesday, but yeah.
All right, then even on Monday.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Get shit done when it's supposed to get done right away.
And then if even if you still have to send it out physically, if it's done and waiting for you, and I think when they're done, they need to write up a list of exactly who gets what for the week, and just Skype you or email you the list. You know, if you're doing it, if we don't give it to somebody else, if you're actually doing the payroll, the actual sending money, as soon as it's done, they Skype you they verify it, they double check it, and they send you the list. And you have it on Monday, so you can get it out, and it's done for the week. You don't have to think about it the rest of the week. And I think they will be very good at it.
Cool. So I mean, that would be part of just basically payroll verification. That's the responsibility called payroll verification. And within that, you've got
now, I think.
Monthly payroll.
She works on payroll with you.
Verification. You've got twice per month. And then you've got weekly. So the weekly payroll verification is the one that does not have to.
I'm going to say this. I think there are certain responsibilities that need to be given to one specific team or group to be done every week that shouldn't just go, somebody's going to go tell somebody to do it. That they know that it's their responsibility every week to make sure that on this, like they do. Like they send out the emails for value tracking, and they do value tracking every week or every month, or whatever. The same way they do that, and they can do this.
Yeah.
Just weekly. Unless you want to go further with it.
My main concern about Nelly and Jorge is that, I mean, for me personally, it's not a priority. I have no need to get paid weekly. There's only about 5 or 6 people who want to get paid weekly.
Right. That's why I think it's not a big deal.
I mean, for me, it seems like one of the people who wants to get weekly needs to prioritize weekly payroll verification. Otherwise, they're going to get paid every other week.
Then give it to me and Lily on Monday, and we'll do it. Since Lily wants to get paid weekly. And we'll do it on Mondays. Yeah. Me and Lilia.
There you go.
How's that?
Yeah. That sounds good.
And somebody, I will make sure that it goes on, starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's a holiday, but I'll work anyway. Starting tomorrow, we will go for the last weeks, and I'll teach you how to do payroll verification, and and all that. And the only thing that we can't do that you still have to do is the bonuses. Because I don't know how to do the money for that. I don't know what somebody gets paid for what they did, as far as client work and deliverables and stuff. But I will give you on the list who did what, how many client hours, and what deliverables they did, so you won't have to go searching for it. How's that?
Yep, that's good. That sounds great. So
okay, consider that me and Lilia will start doing that as our buddy team. Actually, our buddy team is me, you, and Lilia. But a lot of times you're not there, so.
So I do want to just remind.
We will get it done.
I do want to remind us that.
What?
I do simply want to remind us that it would be good to get the taxes done. We have a week in individual taxes are due, so just.
I will. I'm waiting for a response to the email from Anya that I sent Anya yesterday.
Okay.
If I don't hear from her by tomorrow, I'm going to have you send her something on Slack to get back to me. If I don't hear from by Wednesday, I'm going to assume that the answers to all that are that we don't know the answers, and I'm going to proceed with the option that she can't write her mother off.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The other thing I need to know, and I discovered that I need to know the square footage of the area she's using for her workspace, or approximate square footage.
Okay.
Or is it a quarter of the house? Is it a bedroom? What is it? So I know what I can write off for her. Just now that we're talking about taxes, I didn't mean to bring that up in this meeting, but that's the other thing I need to ask from her. And then writing it off is no big deal. All right. It's, whatever.
All right. Well, I think we look pretty good. I'm going to copy and paste all this information into the treasurer doc.
Okay. So I have taken on the responsibility with my Monday Buddy team, and if I don't have a Monday Buddy team, of doing it myself. If no one's around, I'm doing it myself. That the weekly payroll will be ready for you to have by Monday afternoon, by Monday evening. Okay, there you go.
Great.
That's not a big deal.
And then, of course, it does require somebody to, before that, do the updating the pay hours and pay the work hours and pay spreadsheet.
It's only 5 people, so worst comes to worst, and it's not in there. We can always go to their work reporting doc and do it ourselves.
Yeah.
As the Sonic team has done on mine numerous times.
Cool.
So,
all right.
I mean,
well, is there anything else?
It's only 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's a bigger problem if they're not doing their work reporting doc. But then, you know what? If they're not doing their work reporting doc, they can't complain about not getting their weekly pay.
Okay, so is there any other questions about the treasurer support roles?
No, the only other thing I will say about that is I will, on maybe Friday afternoon, I'll see what the 4 or 5 people are, send them a Skype saying, please have your, hours put on the sheet, on the doc by Monday, so that by, Monday at Americas, so that we can do your weekly payroll. That, I'll send them a reminder that it needs to get done. So that way maybe I won't have to search too much through people's work reporting docs.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. I'm done with weekly payroll.
Are we ready to move on?
I guess so.
Yeah, we can move on. Yeah.
Yes, we can move on.
So next we have, and by the way, I'm getting a little tired. I'm not sure exactly how long we've been going. I think it's been 2 hours.
We are going for 2 hours.
2.25 hours.
And whoever is the timekeeper, we want to keep pushing our new policy on standing up every half hour would be good. Stretching, all that kind of stuff. So let's see. So the next one is the virtual office management support. That sound good?
We had Thomas who had questions about that.
Yes.
So what is your question, Thomas?
I took on that position. I would like to know the responsibility on that entails that positions and what's all about the virtual office.
Cool.
Can I handle this one a second? First thing, if you don't know what a virtual office is, you should Google it. That'll give you a little hint of what a virtual office is. That's all I'm going to say. Of course, Google has a pretty good explanation. I've seen it.
Cool. So, for me, it says management. The discussion here is about management positions and the virtual office manager, right? So, first of all, this is part of UNBUS. Okay, so UNBUS is the umbrella business, and there's 5 branches. Each one is its own business with its own clients. And we're actually going to be creating web pages and everything like that's going to make it, we're going to be able to bring in a lot of clients. And I think we're going to be able to bring in more money and everything by simplifying everything. Because we do so much that it's like we just need a simple business that offers documentation support and building virtual offices for organizations. And they can pay us like $5,000, whatever, and we'll build them a virtual office, right? And it'll be simple, clear, done, right? So,
yeah.
In terms of this, we call it, let me pull up the budget real quick so I can get it correct. Hopefully I have it in the budget. Let's see. Budget. And let me go over a couple of, like, overall management stuff. So this is the manager position. Have you read through the manager position details of the positions and organization and how it works?
No.
Okay, so let me link that here. So first of all, every single manager position needs its own doc. Okay, does that make sense? So this would be a task.
Okay.
So that's the first thing is and this is part of like responsibility organizing. Responsibility organizing, you need a link. Manager positions need their own doc, period. So it's like if someone comes to me and they're like, I don't know what to do about my position. I'm like, have you created a doc yet? They're like, no, boom, I'm not interested, right? It's like if people don't just do the basic things for all manager positions first, then it's just like, why are you wasting my time with asking me, trying to get all this help and you're not even doing the basics, right? It's like you're not even trying. So anyways, I mean, obviously we're all still learning, but that's what I want to make sure everybody knows, that everybody needs to be reading the overall manager position so that they understand all manager and coordinator positions. Because if you don't understand that, then how are you going to know how to do your manager position? Does that make sense?
Okay, so I'll have to make a doc on virtual office on my own doc.
Yes, but more importantly is to understand what your position is. What position do you have? So can someone link? Let's go ahead and link the link to the spreadsheet of positions. Spreadsheet. I'll pull that up real quick. And then we can double check exactly what position you signed up for. Next is, I want to get the manager. Oh no, position. Positions list. Okay, here's the positions list. Thanks to Lucy. So we got that. So someone can check to see what position that Thomas has. And then I was also want to see if I can find the spreadsheets of positions. That's odd. Why is there two docs here?
Oh, this is the doc I needed. Thank you very much.
Well, no, this is what Lucy's doing. Lucy's coordinating all the positions. You're going to be coordinating the responsibilities. You need to be using the responsibilities verification doc. You have that, right?
Yeah, I have it somewhere. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, because there's way more responsibilities than there are positions. All right. So
yes,
let's see the difference of these. There's one is the FQNCL CN position list, and then there's the spreadsheet of positions. Is this the same thing or what?
So it's virtual office is VOS 44, whatever VOS 44, virtual office systems 44, whatever it is.
Okay, so VOS 44 is part of UMBUS. Okay, so let's look at Thomas EXA General Operations Contractor. So you have that position, and then you have Thomas Movement Coalition VOS 44 Virtual Office Systems. Systems and processes, cool. Okay, and then there's also the projects. I still don't think anyone added the projects here. So there's the project coordinator, right?
Yep.
That would be the virtual office coordinator. Okay.
Yep.
So there's two totally different positions. One is the virtual office co-coordinator, and this is of the project. It's a project, virtual office project, okay? And this potentially could be overseeing virtual offices for dozens of organizations, right? But right now, we mainly just want to focus on our own virtual office and get our shit organized. So then the other one is, so that's the virtual office. So the other one is the VOS 44 manager position. Okay?
Yep.
And my understanding is that we're talking about the VOS 44, right?
Yeah.
So again, VOS 44 is part of UMBUS. It's one of the 5 branches of UMBUS. Let's pop open the budget real quick. So this would be part of the overall budget. So virtual office, VOS 44 is the virtual office systems. And the goal of, wait, and here I have the general manager position. You need to look at this general manager position. What does the manager do, right? To make sure you're getting done. So let's make sure we add here that every manager position has its own doc. And we also going to want that in the position spreadsheet is the link to the doc of every single position. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know, but people just need to be doing that. Like, need to slowly but surely build all these positions out. Okay, so
one of my problems is that when you make some of these docs up during, and I can tell that this doc was made up during Sonic section or during the Africa section, almost no positions ever tend to get filled by 3 or 4 people that are on the other side because we don't even know these docs exist. Just a statement. It's happened numerous times. You know, that I have to go and add my name to things, the docs that I didn't even know exist, like this one.
the list of positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Lucy should be asking everybody, Lucy's being the tactical ops manager, or whoever wants to take on that role, because it doesn't have to be just Lucy, needs to be talking to everybody across the world. What position are you? How far along have you gotten with that position? ... Does that make sense?
I mean, I love it. At communications co-coordinator, my name wasn't even over there.
It's not updated.
You know, I've added my name, but you know.
I mean, the document is a big, huge mess, and it's not even close to being updated.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that Lucy's done nothing. We basically created it, and she added some of the positions, which is good, but she didn't actually update it and check to make sure everything is updated.
Right.
We've technically speaking, we're also going to want to have verification and verifying to what percentage each position has been, you know, organized, right? So every position is going to want a description. In a list of responsibilities that it oversees for delegation. Again, you can be in a position, a manager role, and you can delegate to yourself to do the work. Does that make sense, Thomas?
Yep.
But you don't have to. You can delegate it to someone else too. And then each manager position should have a clear role and description. So let's go over that for VOS 44. So VOS 44 is going to be a business, right? So this is a business, and it's specifically going to have like a web page. We're gonna want it to have a basic what do you call it? You know, a logo, blah blah blah, right? And it's going to be overseeing all of the virtual offices and documentations in the network. Okay, so it's going to have a budget. It has like $1,000 budget, so the manager needs to oversee the budget to meet the needs of the organization and the responsibilities. From there, we also want to basically, you know, maximize efficiency, and have an effective documentation system. I think a better way to put it is that make sure people can find the documents they need when they need them. Right?
Okay.
So that's basically the purpose of Box 44 of the company, is to make sure that the people and the clients can make sure that find that and all that stuff. You're going to want to create, there's going to be a documentations work tracking. So the question is like, who is working on documentations related activities, and tracking those hours to make sure people get paid, etc., etc. And you're going to want to create like the Box 44 needs its own main doc. It'll actually be a main doc because it's a business.
Okay.
And then you're going to want a doc for your own position, right? And then, I mean, do you want me just to start going over the responsibilities, or do you want to give it a try?
Yeah, you can start with the responsibilities. So that you can continue from there.
How about Asif or Steve? Do you guys think of any documentation-related responsibilities?
Excuse me?
Can you guys think of any documentation-related responsibility?
Can I think of any documentation related to this responsibility?
No. Okay, so Box 44 is going to be overseeing all of the responsibilities related to documentation, and
Right, so
within the
it needs
network
to
and
always
other.
see the virtual file cabinet. It needs to see the list of docs that are created every day. Okay, because any doc that's created, that's we have everybody's supposed to be like, this doc we put up on a file. Every doc is supposed to be in that, so that would give them a good place to get any new docs made.
I'll take care of
everybody's. All right.
Sorry, because
there's an iron cabinet. What else?
So I mean, this is obviously a good list here. The list of updating the list of docs created every day. Organizing all of the main docs, coordinating virtual file cabinets. I mean, and that's just barely the beginning. Does that make sense? Those are 3 examples of responsibilities that might come under the context of documentations for the client. Who's the client? The client's the FQN, community, network, and other sub-organizations and teams. Okay? So making sure team docs are usable, right?
And remember, you can't do this all by yourself. You need to find some people who are willing to help you. I'm saying I can't do communications all by myself. Jay can't run the organization all by himself. We all need people to help us.
So let's do a quick brainstorm of who is involved in documentation. I mean.
Well,
okay.
I am.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, we know everybody is involved in documentations because everything is integrated with documentations, right? That's a done deal. But who's
been trying
really
to coordinate it? So
Yeah.
Abdul,
bam, perfect.
Abdul, yes.
Steve,
He set up the communications. I don't love it, but it works. James working with me. It was, what's the name from it, but she's not here anymore.
So Asif just said he was interested. Asif just said he was interested in helping. So Thomas,
Yes.
So you're going to want to take the list of all of the. Oh, Steve, you want to go first?
I don't think we should make it too long because I think, groups like, and this is something that doesn't happen. I think we have to figure out how to put it on the schedule. When you have a responsibility like this, let's say there's 5 of us there. The 5 of us need to meet maybe 1 hour once a week or once every other week to just work on that responsibility. The problem is that when we all take on parts of it, we don't talk to each other. It's not coordinated. I think one of the biggest problems in the whole agency is that we need to schedule, and it's means maybe everybody working an extra hour or two a week. I don't know, but we need to schedule. If you have a responsibility, you have to have a meeting with the other people who are having that responsibility. So you know what each other is supposed to get done and what each other has gotten done. I'm going to go out and do all the virtual file cabinet stuff, and then Asif might go out and do the same exact thing. And then we're just wasting time and energy. One of the biggest problems, I think, with all our responsibilities is that we don't have meetings of the people taking on each responsibility. The group of people that say they're going to do it. So they can plan out exactly what they're going to do to get the responsibility done as a team.
Now, as far as my understanding is, for this particular project, I think Thomas took the initiative, right? And now this is the responsibility of Thomas to get, coordinate with all these 5 people to get the things done.
That is exactly correct. Yes, and that's part of the role of the manager, is making sure people working on similar things are being coordinated. So Thomas isn't responsible for doing the work. He's responsible as a manager to be coordinating and making sure the work is getting done. So, or not necessarily getting done, or maybe knowing what's not getting done. So what is getting done, what isn't getting done, just making sure it's getting verified. So the couple things relate there. One is that we need to be doing better with the verification spreadsheets, right? So you have verification spreadsheets. I think in many ways comes under documentations, if you think about it.
All right. And I'm already going to be working on that, so.
Of course.
As far as responsibilities go.
So then you also have the idea that one problem with our meetings is that we come together. I mean, we're a double team right now, so this is a really good double team. We got 4 of us, right? And so we don't really need to break up into 2 buddy teams. We could, right? If we had something that, for example, James.
If taxes were due tomorrow. If taxes were due tomorrow.
So, but let's say Thomas and Steve needed to work on documentations, for example, and me and Asif were going to work on, money security or whatever. The point is that we could do that right here, right now during the session. We just break up into 2 teams and start getting to work, right? And collaborating. So, in that context, you can have. You can bring up communications, you can bring up a responsibility during the weekly sessions. And that's, I think, one of the things that we don't do very well. It's like we do a lot of training. I think after we get through some of the hump of training, that we'll be able to utilize our sessions when more people are around to coordinate more between the different people working on various different activities, including for our global sessions. Like, that's what the global sessions are for. It's the only time during our quarter moon sessions, the only time every week that we can have people from all over the world at the same time, the same place. There's no other time that's going to happen, right? So we need to use that for the best of our ability to be coordinating between all these. But then it's up to Thomas to bring up his position as a priority, right? So everybody should be bringing up their positions as priorities so that we can talk about them and organize them. So this is good. So can you see here? These are some of the things you would want to have in your position doc for VOS 44, and
Yep.
So this is the manager position. And again, the way to think about it is that VOS 44 is a business. It's going to have clients. One of its clients is the FQN Community Network and all of our documentation systems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It will also be taking on clients of individual teams, and we're gonna and actually take on, for example, the Andromeda team needs help with its, virtual office, right? So different teams may have different needs. So I think that's pretty clear.
And I'll be honest, Thomas, the position the role you're taking on is going to take up. Really working is going to take up a lot of your working hours.
But I
It's a
disagree. I
serious big
disagree with
position.
that. I disagree with that because it's
Until he gets it set up, it will.
well, sure.
Until he gets it all set up, it will.
Yeah, you know, for a little while you want to get it all set up. You want to keep bringing it up at more and more meetings, right? So when you come to the meetings, keep prioritizing this. Keep asking people more information. But overall, your goal is to just help document all of the responsibilities related to documentation. So you should go through all of the responsibility verification spreadsheets, find every single responsibility that relates to documentations, right? And coordinate them in relationship to the FQN Community Network needing support on its documentation.
Okay.
Yeah, and then once you're done with, I mean, basically once you start coordinating it and managing and making sure that things are happening, then things will start falling into place. And then our other clients. So basically, Vox 44 will have two primary clients. There's going to be EXA secretary and documentation support. So you're going to want to think, okay, for our client, what types of documentations are needed, and support and different responsibilities related to the client needs in relationship to documentation. Okay.
Like put all the value tracking docs together so that in one place, so that if they need to see where they are on value tracking, you know where it is. It's in
Yeah, exactly. And there may be, and
maybe even tax forms down the road and stuff like that for everybody when we start doing a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah. So overall, the Boss 44, it might be a coordinator position. Like, it's possible that all bus positions are coordinator positions as opposed to manager positions, because you could think about that each client under Boss 44, for example, EXA being one of our clients that needs help with documentations. FQN Community Network needs help with documentations. There might be other clients that we have that need help with documentations. And so therefore, every single client is going to have its own client manager, right? And if you think about it, if we go back to the position of positions, client managers, so these are the EXA documentations manager. So Zilu signed up to be the EXA documentations manager, so that's obviously another very important person who you're going to want to think that's involved in documentations. And then you'd also put that under here that Zilu is involved in this position for the manager role for EXA documentation support. Obviously, I'm involved as well because I'm the secretary, right? So Jay is the secretary. So anyways, it's just slowly but surely pulling all the pieces together, understanding the budget for this. This is a $1,000 budget that Zilu is supposed to oversee, making sure Zilu is doing his work with that. So in many ways, the Voss 44 is really, it might be a co-coordinator position as opposed to a manager position as it evolves, because it's going to have more and more sub-components of it.
Although it is documentation is under communications, you can gladly have it. You can gladly have it.
Yeah.
I got enough on my plate.
All right, so let's just quickly go over all of the documentation positions. So obviously the EXA documentations manager. So let's just, these are the positions related to documentation. So there's the most important, of course, is documentations co-coordinator for the documentations project. Does that make sense?
Yep.
There's obviously also the documentations, the virtual office. So this is the actual virtual office of FQN Community Network, which is a co-coordinator position, right? Then you have the EXA documentations manager. So this is a position. These are all positions, but position. And then you've got, I think there's only one more, but I could be wrong. The Boss 44. I think it's actually a co-coordinator position, because it's going to be overseeing other managers. Like all the bus positions are going to have client managers for every single client that's paying us. So that really should relate to the idea that that it's a co-coordinator position. So currently we have 1 manager position and 3 co-coordinator positions related to documentation. So we might think of a better name for this. I don't know. I'm still not convinced on whether it's a manager / co-coordinator. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. So any other questions on the VOS stuff and the documentations? And obviously, all of these overlap. The highest one is the documentations coordinator because they're dealing with all of the other positions.
So
I don't want to remind everybody. I'm going to shoot myself in the foot now and remind you that I said I would take on all the virtual file cabinet and get it done. Did I get it done? No, but I might be shooting myself in the foot by reminding you of that.
And that would be a
I just had too many other
responsibility.
things to do. I just said with taxes and everything, I've had too many other things to do.
And it's not necessarily a priority as well, but the virtual office would be a responsibility, right? So actually creating the virtual office, and really you did create the plan. So you created the plan for the virtual office, and that's done. Now it's about implementation, right? So implementation.
I did do that. I did do that.
Yeah. So
I
anyway,
did that with that. I did the first communications meeting. I did all that. I mean, I'm trying to get everything done.
Yeah. And so that would be a really good thing for you to learn about, Steve. I mean, not Steve, Thomas. We have a lot of documentation and information about the virtual office and how the virtual office works. It's a couple pages that you might want to read through and make sure that's all clear and linked, because that's what, that's part of what the document.
And you have my personal Skype, Thomas. If you need to get in touch with me, just give me buzz me on Skype if I'm not on. If I'm around, I'll pop on.
Okay. We'll link up to it. I'll link up to you with you, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, some of this is, we can always pop on. We can always go to like the ACE Hangout or the Stanford Hangout and figure this out if we have to at any point. I'm up late, so it's okay. When you go to work, I'm still up.
So I want to mention here that the Mars session and the global membership doc did not get linked here. So we asked people to do that, and it didn't happen. So I don't know.
Didn't you link the Mars session?
No.
The video?
I've linked the video to the Mars doc, but someone was supposed to link the Mars.
Oh, okay.
Doc
Then I got it.
I'm
sorry. I got it. I thought you linked it.
I thought someone else said they were going to do it, but that never happened. All right. So
okay, I got it right now. Don't even worry about it. I got it.
So we have the virtual office. So now we had some responsibilities. There was the money security, money organizing, responsibility organizing process, and then there's all the other senior managership positions and the value tracking, bus, team budgets. I feel like it would make sense to just spend a minute on team budgets, but I'm personally ready to check out. I mean, we're almost on 3 hours.
Yeah, we are almost at 3 hours.
So are you guys ready to check out? Thomas, what is your primary task of what you're going to do now after we spent this time going over your position?
It will be on documentation first. First, I'll make a doc on the virtual office.
Well, on your position, it's a doc for your position. There already is a doc for virtual office. Your position is VOS 44 manager.
Yeah, okay. I'll make a doc on that.
And what are you going to put? What are you going to put in that doc?
With my responsibilities.
Sure, but what else are you going to put in that doc? You're gonna copy and paste all the information we talked about in this meeting. You're gonna copy and paste it into that doc. Oh my God, who is doing video indexing? No, but there's no video indexing for this session, for this meeting. That's too bad. Oh well. So anyways, if we had video indexing, I would have asked you to link the video training that we just did to that doc as well, so that future people who have your position could watch the video training, but unfortunately, no one did video indexing, so we'll have no training out of this session, which is too bad.
Okay.
But maybe someone will do that in the future. And who didn't do the video indexing? It was Asif. Asif said he was going to do it, but didn't do it. All right, so I'm ready to check out. You got, the team budgets need to happen like at the quarter moon session next week. The monthly budget will be approved, and we need to finalize the monthly budget. There's a million other things going on, so we just have to do our best. Anything else? Do you guys? When you're responsibly organizing process, read the process, understand it, use it. Every single responsibility needs a link, just like every single position needs a doc, so that we can organize it and have it clear and people can learn about their positions and their responsibilities and what they're doing. Because every time, like for example, if we go through all of this and we train Thomas how to do this and then it doesn't get indexed into a doc and then that doesn't get linked to the list of positions, what's the point? You know, it's like, why do all this training and then it's never there for anyone else in the future? It's like so much better to have it available for other people, you know?
Okay.
So that's why we do responsibility organizing and organize all the positions. All right, so can we just check out? You guys ready to check out, or any other next steps? Or
Yeah, I will update the decisions doc right after the meeting. We're like a half an hour after the meeting. I need to take a little break, but I'll get the decisions doc updated within the next half hour or so.
okay,
So
and there's also going to be a new main doc that's created for create main doc for the worker entity. Right, so
All right.
a new worker entity group. Right, so our new organization or entity that we created. And then that's where then there'd be a decision-making doc for that entity, and you would have the membership of that entity, and there we have all the decisions that would be there. I think that's most of the decisions. There could also be a Mars decision-making doc as well if you wanted to create that. But you don't.
I think this one we don't need that. I'll just put it on the global team decisions doc, and then we can copy it to the new entity doc once we have it made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but every
That
level of the global structure would have its own decision-making doc. What I think you're saying is that you just have like an overall master decision-making docs, and that's fine to get started.
Which is what we have now. It's called the global Andromeda decision-making doc, but it's the master for everything.
Perfect.
It has all the decisions. I've checked it. It's the master.
Great.
It needs to be renamed the master decisions doc, but
exactly, and it should really be linked into our list of important docs into our template. You know.
Yes, it should.
Yeah.
It should, and I will rename it, and I will put it in this one actually, and I'll send you a link to it so you can figure out how to put it in the template.
Well, the template's linked right here. The template for voice session meeting notes. You just click on the template. It's right there.
Okay. All right, so I'll put it in the template. That's not a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put it in.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and check out. And I think we're good. Any last thing before we start checking out?
No, I think
Yeah,
we're good.
they do remind everyone, right? It's for whether they agree on the part of a board member or not.
Yeah, who took that on? Who's going to send out the email and ask everybody who has been requested to be on the board if they accept the position? They either need to accept it or they don't. I think ideally it would be like an email so that we can document it, but however you do it is perfectly fine. Does anyone want to take that on?
Yeah, me.
I don't have access of email.
Okay, so Thomas. So that'll be Thomas's role, responsibility.
Yes. My role, yeah.
You have access to the email list, Thomas?
And Thomas
No,
is a
I
good
don't have
person.
access to it.
Thomas is a good person because he's also responsible for the accountability in Plasma. So he needs to be accountable to make sure the board is doing what they're supposed to do on behalf of the membership, which is us.
All right. As far as I know, the full contact list is invitation managers only. If you go to the contact list and you can't get into it, send me a Skype and I will add you to the list. Because I have access to it. I will send you an email with asking you, saying you can edit it, Thomas. So if you go to the full contact list and team, list and you can't get in, just Skype me and I will send you, inviting you to edit. Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right. Is that okay with you, Jay?
I'm sure it's fine. I didn't quite get it.
I said if he doesn't have access to the doc, to the full team, email list, to the list, to send me an email, to send me a Skype, and I'll invite him to edit the doc so that he can go in there and get, do the emails.
Okay, so
He might not have access to the email list. And if he's going to be responsible for oversight, he needs access to the email list. So.
okay. All right, sounds good. So that's going to be Thomas. All right, so I'm ready to check out. Are you guys good to check out or what?
Yeah, I'm going to check out because I have somebody waiting for me to call them. She's been waiting since we started. It's a day off.
All
We
right,
like to talk.
And
She
also,
gets up at 6 in the morning,
and
and we
also,
started at 6 in the morning there.
cool. Also, another
I think this was
responsibility would be the there's a lot of responsibilities and task organizing that didn't happen. Whoever was the task responsibility master, there's a lot more in there.
I will get it. I will get it. I will do it.
So,
I
but you don't have to do it now.
I did
In
say
the
I
future.
would do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, so in the future. Okay, so let's
I
check
put
out.
some in, but not all of it. I was doing other stuff.
Yeah, so let's check out.
Like I said, we doing them. But I'll get it done when I do the decisions doc updating. I'll do that also. What was I going to say? I think this was a very productive meeting. I personally think that when we have important meetings that we have less people, we actually get more done. That's just my opinion. Again, I think that there are so many people talking, and we don't have to explain it 100 times, so we get a lot more done. I think we accomplished a lot today on the overall, things that have to get done. Now we all have to do what we said we're going to do, and get those who are supposed to be doing things to do them. It was, like I said, it was a great meeting. I'm happy that we got a lot accomplished. Thomas, I will help you as much as I can. And same for you. I say if you need my help with anything, get in touch with me. I'm going bye-bye. So long. Talk to you all tomorrow.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you.
All right, Thomas, want to check out?
Yeah, okay. For me, I'm excited for this session. And thank you, Steve. And I'll link up to you so that you can talk more on that. So for me, it's a check. I have to sleep now. It's too late for me over here.
Yeah. Asif.
Yep, it was great, impressive session from my side. It was really informative, and we have got to know a lot about the main area which I missed the part that I wanted to make sure on a couple of things which we missed, but definitely we'll figure it out in the next sessions or something.
Great. All right. And then for me, I thought this was also really good or a great session. We really covered the main goals of the session, including getting our new structure and organization set up, which is very exciting. And I don't think you guys can possibly understand how easy and powerful it is to do that and how we have it. Like, it can take people weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months and months and months to set up an organization. We just set up an organization in less than an hour. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, everybody's gone. Just to take 2 minutes of yours. Can you just tell me this video indexing you were talking about?
Well, you didn't do the video indexer role. Like, that was to do the video indexing.
Okay. No problem.
Like, there's no video indexing. There's no video indexing. So all the training and information we did for today, like, no one will be able to link into it and for the trainings. So all we have is just the one big, huge session. We don't have any break points of when the actual trainings and things started. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Cool. So anyways, hopefully in the future we'll do better on video indexing. I'm going to help work with some of the session value tracking right now, if anyone wants to work on that. But I think we're done. I think we're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay, and it was a really, really impressive from your side.
Cool, cool.
And,
In terms
yeah,
of
I would like.
in terms of the time, if you guys can note the time for Thomas and Steve, what are you guys? What time did it start and what time is it ending? Like as far as like your overtime for working in the middle of the night, what times are we talking about?
Me and Thomas are having same time. No, we have started at 1 a.m. Right, Thomas?
Right, so that'll be 2x. So you guys are getting 2x.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you guys get 2x since you're anything in between midnight and 6 a.m. is 2x. You guys get twice the value. Pretty cool.
So, okay, Jay, I'm really I'm literally fainted because I haven't slept last night as well. So yeah,
Well,
it was very much impressive from
cool.
your side. Good session. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. Taking care of ourselves is the most important thing. So I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Cool.
Thank you, Jay.
Ciao.
Thank you, Jay.
Bye.
Have a good day.
For sure. All right, looks like we are done. Thanks for watching.